Hey everyone, I have Danya here. Danya is someone that I've been working with for the past 3 months in the capacity of coaching as well as RTT. So I just wanted to bring her on and ask her a few questions just about her experience. Hopefully this is helpful for anyone who is, thinking about working with me at some point. So hi Danya.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thanks for agreeing to come on and answer some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first thing I just wanted to ask was if you could just explain a little bit about how your life was before we started working together.
Yeah, so before we started working together, I think I was having a lot of trouble really knowing how I felt about things and being able to trust my decisions and act on them, which it just left me feeling really stuck. And I felt like I had a number of different layers of issues that were playing into blocking me from feeling confident in like my gut
Mhm.
and even knowing what my gut was. So that was kind of what life was like before.
Yeah. What do you feel like was standing in, like the one biggest problem that was standing in the way of getting what it is that you want? And we'll get into that in a moment.
Yeah, so the first thing was that I just really did not know how I felt. I was really disconnected, like, I felt like I lived in my head a lot and not so much in, like, my body.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was kind of the first thing that we worked on together. And out of that kind of came some of these other components that I was able to feel, and the biggest one was guilt,
Yeah.
which was just has something I've carried with me my whole life, until recently, and has just really been one of the things that has been in the way of me being able to that is probably layered into me not trusting my gut.
And
Uh,
so, can you just tell everyone a little bit about what the outcome was after working together? Just a little bit about the results that you experienced and how your life has changed since working together.
yeah, so since we've been working together, on guilt specifically, well, first, it's funny you asked me recently, like, "Tell me, like, when you've been feeling guilty," and I didn't I hadn't felt guilty in so long that I didn't even think about it. I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm not feeling guilty." I think I felt guilt when it came to a lot of my family, which played out into relationships, played out at work, and kind of, everything at that point. And since doing that work, things that used to bring guilt where I would feel compromised in the decision I wanted to make or the thing I wanted to say back or how I wanted to respond, I wouldn't be able to. I would feel so guilty about that response that I would end up almost giving the response that the other person wanted, but it would feel like a chore. It didn't feel authentic. And that's really not how I've been operating. And I just feel lighter and a lot more free and like this huge weight is lifted. And it's not that I don't have moments where I encounter guilt, but because of the first piece of work we did about knowing how you feel, I can tell that that's what's happening. And I just don't take it on. And that's what I was taking on so much guilt is my own as a burden when it wasn't mine. And lifting that off has just yeah, it's just lighter and happier and
Awesome.
able to actually make choices that are true to myself.
Great. So it sounds like guilt no longer runs your life. You can manage it. It
Yeah.
still pops up every once in a while, but you're aware of it and you know how to manage it. You know how to cope with it.
I know that it's not mine to carry, which is huge. I think really facing that and accepting that truly, like in my whole body, has been just a game changer for me.
Yeah. Beautiful. And what hesitations did you have, if any, in working together?
Well, I didn't have any. You're so comfortable to talk to. I think the one thing that I experienced was being nervous for the first session. I didn't know what would come up.
Mhm.
And because I'm a person who's relatively private, I just had that kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a knot in my stomach going in, just being nervous for the first experience of something new I hadn't done before. But I would say that that went away immediately. It was almost like going into it. Like even when we first just began and just got on, Zoom and started talking, it just went away because you're very, very easy to talk to and feel very safe. So
Well, I will say it's completely normal. I think anytime we experience something that, we're not sure of exactly how the experience is going to go, it's completely normal to feel a little nervous, right? If you
yeah.
haven't felt anything before. So thanks for sharing that now. How would you describe how you feel now as opposed to anything else, or have you pretty much covered off on when you spoke about the results?
I think the one of the ones I noticed was sometimes with my family where I would feel guilty if I wasn't free, if I wasn't available. And so sometimes my time with them was more of a chore. And I think they could pick up on that too. And so just removing that guilt layer and staying really true to like when I want to be available and see them or talk and things like that. Um, I think has just made my relationships with them better. And I think that's played out in a lot of other areas too. But um, I feel good about what I'm doing. So
Perfect.
I really enjoy it. And I think that's more fulfilling.
Yeah, awesome. It sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, just your ability to create boundaries and stick to them, stick to what feels aligning and what feels good to you. You've been able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, happy to hear. And then lastly, what would you say to anyone that is considering RTT, rapid transformational therapy, coaching with me? What would you say to them? What would you share?
It's amazing. I mean, I've done, I work in therapy with a therapist, and I know lots of people do. And this is really different. In a therapy session, you're discussing and trying to get, often it goes down to when you're young and there's parallels. But the hypnosis and what comes up when you're in that kind of like, it's all in your brain, but when you are at that relaxation level where your conscious can kind of take a back seat and everything else can come up, it blew my mind. Things that were always there were able to come out that I just couldn't get out in a regular conversation because when I'm conscious, I have just so much in my mind working against wanting to, it's protecting me. Um, and it, that's an incredible experience in and of itself. But really, I found just working with you that one, because you really created such like a safe, comfortable environment, and so much could come out. And then with the recordings that followed it, it just like I found myself like looking forward to doing them every day. I think I told you yesterday, I put it on and I came out like a new woman. I was feeling a little bit off and it just kind of like, I don't know, it just like reinvigorated me, it grounded me. And um, for anyone who just wants to change something, it can be done. I think that's the thing, unearth myths that you've created with things that have played out for your whole life, and all of that's possible. Um, and I just really highly recommend it. It's refreshing. I think you feel lifted and lighter, and I really think everyone should do it. And you're an amazing person to work with.
Awesome. Would you say it just really helped open up a new realm of possibilities for you? Like what is possible for you based on now that you have this understanding and ability to work with your mind and understand how it works? Would you say this sort of opened up a new realm of what's possible for you?
Yeah, it really did. And everyone has something that they're working on, and it's all about kind of finding your personal power and like really getting to where you want to go, um, and feeling fulfilled. And most people aren't fulfilled.
Mhm.
So I think, I mean, everyone should go through that experience because every experience you have, you can have a different lens into looking at something. And I think doing this does that and kind of see the world a little different. And I think growth and development is being able to look at things differently and learn about yourself. And yeah, I'm just really glad that I have that lens. And every time I feel like we talk, I kind of like open up new lenses, and it's amazing. And it honestly is more fulfilling to know that I can think like that and that my mind can be shifted and that what I believe can be changed. Like, to know that is power, to know that you can like make those changes. So
Yeah, awesome. Sounds like you had a beautiful transformation.
I did. All because of you
Well,
and the
you
little work from my head.
the work. I just facilitate. It really is. It's so up to the person to commit 100% and be open and wanting to do the work. I just have the tools and I create the space, but it really is all up to you. So awesome job. And I appreciate you coming on. And it's been amazing chatting with you and working with you. And I appreciate you.
You too. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks, Danya.
Thanks.